Hello friend. So till now we understand that association mapping 1 to 1, and we see that how we can map 1 to 1 mapping through core as well as 1 to 1 mapping through annotations. Today I will try to explain about bidirectional. Till now we cover up to the unidirectional mapping, and today we will do the same program. We will convert into the bidirectional. Here a little bit you have to understand about what is a unidirectional and what is the bidirectional. If that concept is clear, then we can easily convert our one-to-one mapping with the core application, and we will convert the same application in unidirectional to bidirectional, as well as we will convert one-to-one mapping through annotation mapping, and we will convert that project to unidirectional to bidirectional. So as I previously I explained that one-to-one mapping will be applied whenever has a relationship is there. Means a student has a address, exactly one student has a one address. So when you will utilize that verb has a, it will be fit for that one-to-one mapping relationship, and directly we can map that one object directly map with other object, then it one-to-one mapping is fit. And unidirectional I already explained about that. Whenever we will get the student object, inside that student object we will get the address object. So we can if we have a student object, we will also get the address of the particular student. But in the opposite direction, if we have an address, we can only get the address, we cannot get the student information. First we just try to understand about what is the unidirectional, what is the bidirectional without using any ORM or any database connectivity. Simple code Java, I just try to explain about what is a unidirectional and what is bidirectional. Once the concept is clear, we can easily convert our already existing code to unidirectional to bidirectional. So here we will start with the concept unidirection and bidirection. So we will close all existing classes, and we will try we just implement a new concept here. So here we will create one student, and after that we will delete that. So I just creating one student class, and we don't need any main or anything, and I will just going to create one address class. Okay, so whenever we start with the small a, we'll see that here that error will come, type name is not correct. So it usually start with the capital. So whenever we will use any class name or interface, the name must be start with capital. It will not any compile or any execution problem, but it is not as standards. So we'll create a string here, and inside the address we will create some field like a private int AID, and after that we will create private string name or address street name, or simple we'll just write a int here pin. So very simple value, only the pin code and ID, and we will create a parameterized constructor here, as well as we will create a setter getter. So we'll just add one parameterized constructor. So address constructor, so this is a by default constructor. We will convert this by default constructor into the parameterized constructor. We'll just write same int aid here and int pin code, and we will initialize with this aid equal to aid and this pin code equal to pin code. So initialization here, this aid means this global variable and equal to aid means this is a local variable. So whenever we create a new address, whatever the value will pass, it will be initialized with this variable. After that we will create a getter setter. We can create a getter setter in three way. Either we can write a directly get set all the method, either we'll just start with like a get and do that control and a space button, and we'll use get aid. So we'll like that, or set aid, control and space button, then set aid. Like that we can create again get pin code and again get set pin code. The second way is there. Just right click here, go to the source, and after that here generate getter setter is there. Source and then getter and setter. So once you click the getter and setter, you will get this field. So just select it, or here just select all. Otherwise, if you want only get or set, just explore it, and after that if you only need set, then just click it. Either you want to only get, then just unselect it. So this button, it will be defined, means you want to create all the getter setter and what, and you can also specify the access modifier, what the modifier you would like to provide that getter setter. So by default getter setter is a public, and you select it and just create it. So we'll see here that's automatically getter setter will be created. So through that we can create like a parameterized constructor. What we wrote here, we can create a dynamic, means this way automatically also. Here we will go and we will create a constructor using field. So now our address field is already ready, and we'll create a student field. The same thing, means what the way we created address, same we will create a student. So a student, again we will write private int sid and private int or private string student name. Fine, and we will create a same getter setter and constructor here. So we will create this time parameterized constructor through right click. We will go to source, because before we created through a control and a space button. So now this time it's a different way we'll create. So here generate constructor using field, you just click it. After source, just right click. So right click, if you click inside it, not right scope where it will be constructor will generated, then this field will not come. Like that, if we have a main method here and I would like to create here constructor, then we will go to the source, and when we try to generate a constructor, see constructor will be generate outside only, so that it will be take care the place where exactly we have to generate. So super it's not required, if either will put or not, the default constructor is automatically put here super. So as it is created a student sid s name and this constructor. After that we have to create a two getter and setter. So we'll generate getter setter like a source itself, source, and we will click here generate getter and setter, and after that select all and just OK. So we have a getter setter and select all, and next we will create a one main where we going to test it. So we'll create one class, just write a main test, and we need public static void. That's when I clicked here, select it and finish. Here I would like to create a both object. I just going to create a student object as well as address object. Student, yeah, that stu1 equal to new student, and we'll pass that SID something 101 and name you will pass something like Amit. And after that we will print, we'll do the same thing with address object. Address equal to new address, or the better understanding we will give the same name, same student with small and address with small a. And here AID is integer, so we'll provide AID is like a 101 itself, no problem, and pin code something 600119, anything. Okay, so it's complaining because this is a integer and we put as a string. So now we have a student object and we have address object. Just print it. So here we would like to add print a student object. And same thing I would like to print address object. Okay, so whenever we will print it, it will be we see that something package name with the class name @ some hash code value will be print. So just run it. Okay, so we'll get this student.visualpath.client.student.sum calculation. So how this is a printing? Is it a printing with two string? So something like a, what is a two string? So I just string str equal to something hello. Okay, and I would like str dot to string. So what is this to string? Yeah, so what the implementation of to string super class, here is string class, returning a this, and exactly here a string class is returning the same thing. So a string dot to a string, if we write, it will be print exactly hello. So if we print this one, means we will get same hello. Hello. Why would like to I add? Because string, actually to a string method is from object class. So a string is override this to string method, and he wrote his own implementation. So what exactly in object class? New object and obj dot to string. We'll see that here to string implementation, what the implementation, what they are doing, that get class dot get name, means this will return here it will return get class dot get name, means that complete classified path of that particular class. That get name means com dot visual path dot client dot main test. So that is the value of this one. After that they are adding at the rate, after that integer dot to hexa string and pass that hash code. So hash code is passing and they are converting some integer dot to hexa string. Some implementation is there, so we no need to understand very deeply. Just here I try to explain about that. They if we not override toString method, then toString will be work whatever the what thing is implemented in object class, and object class is implementation like get class dot get name and at the rate, and after that integer dot hexa string. So the exactly same thing we will get here when we try to print any object. When we are try to print any console value, pass any object here, then it will be automatically pass that object to the toString method, and what the toString will be implemented, that will get the particular output. So because of that we are getting a this type of output, that get class dot get name, this one, and after that at the rate, that hard coded at the rate, and after that they are passing that hash code integer dot get hexadecimal, and they are converting some hexadecimal value. That method have some implementation to change some hexadecimal value. Through that it will be a very unique object. Always the unique object will become. That goal is like that only. So this thing we are not going to implement. I just try to explain, because if you would like to see exactly here, if you want to print a student and if you want exact same output, then just implement a toString method here. So again you go to the source, and here to generate a toString, just click the toString and select all thing. Yeah, okay, just so we'll get like a student sid equal to that particular value, name equal to particular value, and it will become around this bracket. So around this bracket all the object will become. So it will be print a student object, but address object again we have to do the same thing. So we'll generate source, generate a toString. Okay, so now we have an address as well as a student. We just run it and we see that we are getting exact object or not. Yeah, so we are getting a student. Even we no need to write here a student right now, because we implemented the same thing in toString method. So 2 times of a student is coming. So we'll just print the object and we will get the exact what the value is there. So a student sid equal to 101, name equal to Amit, AID 101, and pin code equal to this one. What we created we will get it. So this is a very basic concept. I am not here going to explain for this thing, but I just want to explain about what is a unidirectional and what is a bidirectional. So here till now it's not a unidirectional, it is not a bidirectional. So I just show you that picture what the mapping we are going to do. So a student have one address, an address belong to one student. So a student has a address. So through a student, if we get a particular address through a student object, if we will get the particular address information, then we will say that this is a unidirectional, one directional. A student, if a student object we have, then we will get the address. But if we have address, we will write this address, some address like that. Amit pin number is, pin code is 600119, or just we will write that address, street name is OMR and pin code is 600119. Then we will get the name of that particular, where the means who is staying that thing. So both the directional we will get. If we have a student, we will get the address, and if we have address, then we will get the student name. Then it is a unidirectional, and only through that student only we will get the address, or only address through we will get the student. Then it is a unidirectional, and both the way it is a bidirectional. That's the only thing is here. So here till now we are not getting either a student to address, either address to a student. So what I would like to try here, I just create, I'm going to create one a student here. So I just create a student object. no, just a student. So now we have a student, okay, and we will initialize here, either we can do the getter setter. Okay, just set the student, just something a placing thing we have to store. Yeah, save, set the student, some compilation problem is there, just try to create itself here. Private student stu get student. Why not coming? Okay, yeah, it's coming. Get a student. Actually we'll just because stu just put a student, correct. So we'll set getter and setter here, set student, okay, and get a student. Or we will start with the student through the address. Better we will do the same thing inside the student first. We will put as it is. We will start with here. Sorry. So we'll add the address here. So now we have address, so we'll add getter setter also. So set address and get address. Done. We can either we can do here this dot set address also, but it is a fine. That's the same way we are going to utilize in our ORM, object relational mapping, means bidirectional. So I would like to use the same thing here. So now we will go here, and what we will do, we have a student, we have an address, and we will just set it. So a student dot set address, and we will set the address. Okay, so what I did, I created one student and I created a address, and after a student dot set address. So we have one student object, and we'll try to get this student object through a student dot get address, and we'll see that what it is printing. So yeah, so both these places, either a student, either directly address, we can get the address. So a student dot get address, we will get the address, but here address dot get, we don't have a student. So this is a bidirectional and unidirectional difference. If we try to access something in the one directional itself, yes, so unidirectional means only one the way, here like that this example is there, and bidirectional when we will set the address, inside the address a student information also. So what is a private student set a student and get a student, and we can implement, we can here address dot set a student, address dot set a student, and here address dot get a student. So through address now we are going to get a student, through a student now we are going to get address information. Yes, so a student have this information and this have this information. So this is the example of bidirectional, and if we are getting only one unidirectional, the same concept we are going to implement here in our application. We just close it, and what we created we just going to delete it. Address, main and student, we are going to get it, no longer required, just delete it. Main test also we have to clean. So already existing project is here. This annotation and one-to-one core. So first we will try to in core application what means how we can do it, and after that we will move to annotation and we will apply same thing. Before of that I just quickly go through that what we understand one-to-one mapping and where we did the all mapping. So here inside that mapping only one thing we have to see, that if we address and go to the student then we can understand about that. Here the second object, this student and address, in a student class we no need to do much more changes. We can utilize the same mapping concept, Hibernate mapping. After package, class name, address, table name, whatever we want to provide, just add a lazy equal to false, and id generator we are going to generate a increment, that is a primary key generator. After that we will add all the property, and type and name you would like, then we just add it. This is a means either we will add or not, it will not much more difference is there. So as it is, no extra tag is utilized here, very genuine, very simple mapping configuration. Only a student we have a one mapping technique here. We have to add many to one, and after that we have to add the address. So we'll go to the student. So a student have just once again, yes. So what I want to explain about that here, this unidirectional thing, we can directly get address object through a student object, but we cannot get a student object through address object. So here mapping thing I would like to explain, that I already explained few things. So here address class we no need to change anything, because address class we are not going to get a student, but a student class we have to map this one many to one, name, address, class, address, and this column equal to EID, and as it is, we no need to change anything. Property name is equal to as name, email, phone, and as it is ID generator and this package and class table name information we have to put here. Address class, no any change, it's very simple. Object class, here what we are going to do, we are just creating a session factory object after that session, after the transaction creation, and we will just write that information. We are going to save it. So I just created a student information, and no need to do all the thing, just create a student information, and here stu.set address. So a student, inside that student we have an address object, so we just set it, and session.save both the object. After that commit. So here what I would like to, after that committing, I would like to retrieve that object. So retrieving, we just going to use load, and through load a student we are getting a session.load a student object, and after that we are getting a through address class session.load address object. So we try to print here. So no need this all thing here, just a very simple, we will make it a very simple that it easily we can grab, easily we can understand that thing. So up to that, this is a code related to when we want to insert our information inside the database, and here this is a related to we can access the information from the database. We will delete the, after insertion we will delete the first thing, and we will try to get directly. So here once stu.set object we have so even this thing is not required now. So just we try to print stu1 as well as add1. So just for notification we will do something, through that we can understand this is our object something, and we'll do the same here. So now we have this thing, and we'll just check inside the address and we have a toString or not. So we have a toString this kind of, and we have a toString like that. It's very simple. So either we can remove it and we will generate through that source. So go to the source and generate toString, okay. So it will be also print a student here, okay, and we will go to address class and we will do the same thing. Now we'll come here and print. I already printed this both object, so just run it. Java application, yeah. So a student, we are getting a student. So a student, see that, otherwise, yeah. So here a student, we have SID, SNAME, email, phone, address, as well as this is a address object. Address is equal to AID, street, city, street, and all the information. But a student address not have a student is null. Even here a student equal to null. So because this is a only one directional, so address don't have a student information, but a student have a address information. That is the only thing is that I would like to explain about that. This is a unidirectional, and same thing we would like to achieve in the bidirectional thing. Then we have to add only one thing, that is I already created one project here, bidirectional, and we will quickly look here, and after that we will convert that. So here student mapping as it is, it's not a change, many to one, name, address and class, this thing. And here if we go to address, then what we did, we added 1 to 1 name equal to a student. After that, this all property we just added this 1 to 1 name equal to a student. Only one tag we have to change, is try to change here. So after property, 1 to 1 name equal to a student, correct? 1 to 1 name equal to a student. This is a EID, and quickly we check that this is correct or not. Address, so only one changes is here, and as it is nothing is changed. So here address we added 1 to 1 name, and we'll just try to run this thing. So before of that, we just copy this information. Through that we can quickly compare. And we will run now. So still student is null, so I think I not saved the value or something is wrong. So yeah, because a student is null coming here, because we not added that value. Just here, and we going to save it. We have just set it stu.set address, but we not set address.set student. We will do that quickly. add dot set student, and here we will add a student stu. Why set a student? Stu. Correct. So this is the going to commit, going to save it. So I just created a student object, and a student I added a address, as well as I created a address object where I added a student. So in here after commit, both objects have complete information. So now we will run it. Stack Overflow error. We quickly will solve that error and we'll run it. So here just close it. I already have built-in information here. So we have address. So address, we'll just delete it, and we will add a toString here. Source toString, and same thing, we have a student. We will do the same operation here. And toString already there, we don't want to student, yeah, and here client. So both we added, we committed. After that same thing. Okay, that is some Stack Overflow error. I just quickly solve it. So that the Stack Overflow is coming because of that circularly accessing a toString method here through that student, and inside that student have address. So what I would like to prefer right now, we'll see that problem later. So I just quickly delete that toString here, and we can get directly value through that particular object. So I just try to print this object here and just check that this is working fine or not. So here Stack Overflow is coming. So just run without toString. So now we are getting this object. So we'll just check that particular object have address information or not. So here when we are loading this session student, so student dot get address dot something get city or get straight. So we'll see that this value is there or not. Okay, so this is an unknown entry to java lang.string. Save the address. Okay, we are getting some entry problem in the already existing table that is override with new creation. I just check with ID, it will be also same thing because yeah. Okay, just try to check that student equal to yes. Okay, so we'll print here. So now we have in both directions. So stu1 dot get address dot get state or something. So it's no row will be found with the given identifier. And what happened, we will try to execute like address dot get a student dot get as name. Okay, quickly we'll fix this error. So we'll run it. Once the exception will come, like given identifier not exist, it is coming because of that we are wrongly pushing the value here. So like that we try to session.save stu.get address, but we would like to save complete object here. So both the places we are adding a address itself, and after that we try to access the student. So that's the problem. So once we committed, we try to retrieve this value, and here I would like to get address dot get student dot sname and student dot get address dot. So here through address object I would like to So this is a add this one, so this is again wrong. So add one object. So through add one object I would like to get a student dot get name and stu1 here loaded object through address and city. Just quickly check it. So now we are getting this Amit, that is a coming from address object, stress object, and this Tamil Nadu, that address thing is coming from a student object. So whenever we add this thing like address one-to-one mapping, we will get in both direction. If we not add this one like that before of that what we are using, and we try to run this one, then we cannot get it, because I have to compile again. It is taking a old one only. Too many address. Yeah. So whenever we try to access this address to get a student dot s name, and I will put this one into the just next. It's easy. So through a student we can get the address and particular get state or something, and after that through address we try to get this one. So when you will run it, Java application, so through a student we are getting a address property and we are a state something Tamil Nadu, and after that when we try to access address to get a student and s name, here one-to-one client dot main we have a null pointer exception because this value is not available. So it's a throwing a line number 42, means this line only it is a throwing exception. So address don't have a information related to particular. So this is related to unidirectional. When we change in the bidirectional, then it will be a give both the type of the object. So changing the bidirectional, I just want to show you once more time. So we have to add here one-to-one, and here we have to add one-to-many. One-to-one property. One-to-one name equal to, and the same thing what we did here, class and column equal to main thing we have to provide. So column we have EID, but here it's a SID. And the same thing if we do with annotation mapping, we just close all the thing. So annotation mapping, what we are doing here in address field, this mapping, yeah, it's a one-to-one unidirectional is here, but we have to change into one-to-one bidirectional. So if you see here a student information, then we added one-to-one column, this one. So this is a unidirectional. So we have add here address itself. So this is a address class, we have to add a student, and we have to add the same thing what we are doing here, one-to-one, but here EID is there, but there SID is there. So through SID it will be compare. So only one thing we have to do, we have to add in both the object, the particular object student, even address have a student and a student have a address, and after that we have to add one-to-one join column. Here all we have to add the rate one-to-one join column. Then it will work. Only one thing we have to change, other than as it is, it's not a work. So here I would like to, so a student, through that student object we will get the address. Now address object we will get the student information. That is a bidirectional. And unidirectional means if we have a student object, only through that we can get the address, but address we cannot get a student. If we want a unidirectional means only one way, bidirectional in both the way. Any object we have, we will get the complete information. So we will map, whenever we have a requirement, particular requirement, we will map it. So both the classes, either a student and address, we have the particular classes. Address class have a student class and a student class have a address class, and that at the rate one-to-one and at the rate join column mapping. Through that we can get in both directional. Here in the core only one changes is there. Before of that only a student class have this tag many-to-one address and this tag many-to-one name address class. That many-to-one, don't confuse, here we are using many-to-one in the one-to-one mapping tag when we want to only unidirectional, and when we want to bidirectional we have to add that address tag under that one-to-one, and we have to provide a name of that particular student. So through that we can map in both, either we can add the column and all, it's fine. So now we can understand about one-to-one mapping, and we know about unidirectional as well as we see that bidirectional in the both the way how we can do in the Hibernate core configuration and how we'll map with the annotation configuration. So we can cover up to that. I will just explain about one more time one-to-one mapping through core. So when we have has a relationship like that, a student has a address and address has a student, both side is a one-to-one, means exactly one student have exactly one address, not one then more than one student address, and one address belong to the particular one student. So means not this address have the multiple students. So this type of relationship is called one-to-one. And whenever we have a particular student object and we try to access the address object, we will get it. But when we have a address object and we try to get the information of a student, then we will not get it. So this situation will call unidirectional. And the next situation, when we have a student object and we will get the information related to address, as well as when we have an address object we will get the information related to a student, means both the directional it will work, then it is called bidirectional. So one-to-one mapping we can map with the core, Hibernate core, with the XML configuration, as well as we can map with the annotation configuration. We have a very little change. If we want to add a unidirectional, we have to just add many-to-one tag, and if we want to use both the directional, means bidirectional, then we have to add in the both the classes, either a student, either the address, both the mapping file we have to add. The main mapping file we have to add many-to-one, and other file we have to add one-to-one. The same thing we can do in the annotation. Annotation we have the directly pinpointing annotation, that at the rate one-to-one, and after that join column. Join column we will provide a particular primary ID, means a primary key. Through that we are going to map. And the same thing, if bidirectional we want, the same tag we will put the other classes, means we can put at the rate one-to-one and at the rate join column, one-to-one at the rate join column, name is equal to SID, this is a primary key, and after that the same tag we will add into the student class as well. So student class, what the address, so this address class SID is here, primary key is here, AID, and this one here we have a SID. And after that we can access in the both directional or unidirectional, we will decide it. But this is a mapping related to one-to-one. One-to-one mapping is finished. We can map one-to-one with core configuration, with the XML configuration, with the annotation configuration, as well as we can map it the unidirectional and the bidirectional. The next is a one to many and many to many. It's the same scenario. Just think about that. If one address belong to the multiple student, so this one is a many, a student address is a one, a student is many. So this type of relationship is called many to one, or one to many, or the next thing is that many to many. So one address belong to the multiple student, and multiple student belong means one student have a multiple addresses and one addresses have a multiple student. Both direction have the many, then it is a many to many. So we'll see in the next video how we can map one to many and how we can map many to many. Until now, let's try to create this concept, one project, and try to get through that a student to address object, and through a student object to through address object to a student, and a student object to address object in the one direction and both directional. So thanks.